What? Afternoon.
Afternoon, Riley.
Would you consent to me recording our counselling sessions for academic purposes for my lecture?
Yes.
I would like to let you know that this is a judgment-free zone. Feel free to discuss whatever you like. But if you speak about harming yourself or harming anyone or harming another person, I feel obligated to contact authorities. We cannot maintain a relationship within like a client and counselor relationship outside of the work, outside of the session. I can't touch you in any capacity. I can't shake hands, I can't high five, I can't give hugs. Okay. What would you like to discuss today, Emma?
So there's drama within my friend group that I'd like to discuss.
What type of drama?
So someone who I consider a close friend, his name is Kyle. He's currently working overseas, but he's coming back to Cape Town next week. And a lot of my friends he was in that group feel conflicted as to whether they should stay friends with him or not because of what he did to me.
What did he do?
So they don't know all of what he did, but on Easter this year, he invited me to his house. And I was under the impression that his cousins were going to be there and one of our friends, Nirvana. And then I got there and it turned out that it was just me and him, which I was also okay with. And then it was still fine. We were listening to music, playing games and stuff, and we were obviously drinking. And then it got late, and so I was gonna ask my mom to fetch me. And then he insisted I sleep over, so I was gonna sleep in his room, and he was gonna sleep in his mom's room. And then in the middle of the night, he came into his room and laid in the bed next to me and started touching me inappropriately.
Oh dear.
Cute. And then and then I just told him to go lay in his parents' room, and then he went to do that. Then the next morning I just got up and then went
Where
out.
was his parents?
His parents were away on a camp.
So it was
With the rest
just
of his
you and
family.
him in the house.
Yes.
And when, like, where did this, like, whole conflict start besides Easter? Like, was there any signs prior to that?
I'd say there were signs. Around November last year, me and him both went through a breakup, and then through that we became closer, and confiding in each other and stuff. And other people also noticed he was very affectionate with me. Like, for example, if we were all sitting together in a group, he had to be laying on me or have his head on my shoulder and stuff. And I'm not a confrontational person, so it takes a lot for me to say something.
You didn't know what to do.
I didn't know what to do, and also for me that was my friend, so I thought, okay, it probably doesn't mean anything by it. So I would say like I just let it happen and just never brought it up with him. And I think he maybe took that as like in my mind.
An opportunity.
Yeah, in my mind we were just friends, but then to him, maybe he thought there was something more. I don't know.
Pushing the boundaries between the friendship.
Yes, exactly. And I also know, I also noticed he's not like that with our other friend who's also a girl in the group, Nirvana.
How much was on your friendship?
It's just me and Nirvana, and
guys.
then there's 4 guys, being Kyle, Cole, Matthew, and James.
And tell me more about the situation.
So after that happened, I felt very uncomfortable around him naturally. However, I didn't want to bring it up with the rest of our friends because I didn't want to ruin the relationship with him. Because we're all very close, and I also didn't want to change the group dynamic drastically. So yeah, I kept it to myself. However, Cole, who's also in the group, moved into my road, so we became very close. And Carl also, that's I did him dirty. And so Cole liked this one girl, and then after him and the girl ended up together, Carl was still interested in the girl and was basically just speaking bad on Cole's name. And that's not something that a friend does. So then Cole and I also confided in each other, and us being childhood friends, we're all very close, our families are very close. And so then I told him what happened between me and Carl, and then he became very protective of me when we were around him.
Like how protective in what way?
So a few times since then that I have been around him with a group, Cole always made sure I wasn't alone. He always looked out for me. If I felt uncomfortable, I'd tell him, and then Cole would, sorry, and then Cole would almost just make sure that I was always okay. Um, so yeah.
Why did you feel like, if you don't mind me asking, why did you feel like a member of your group sexually harassing you was meant to be kept to yourself instead of being let known to other members of the group?
I think it was still difficult for me to process that because Carl and I were very close
It's very
friends.
difficult for you to go through.
Yeah, and also I didn't want. I almost felt like I had to protect his image, so I didn't want the others to see him in that way. But
Their
now,
perception was,
yeah, but now looking back, I see that that is probably not the smartest idea because it caused the conflict in the group now.
if you don't mind elaborating on the conflict.
So the whole group came together through me, Nirvana and Cole, my childhood friends. We all grew up in church together, and then James and Matthew were in high school with me. And then on my 18th birthday, I invited everyone to my birthday party, and that's how they met. And Carl was dating Nirvana's cousin at the time, and so when they broke up, Carl sort of still stuck with the group. So yeah, so that's how they met. And then through that, after high school, we all were very close and always hung out together, always at parties. Um, so yeah.
And has your relationship differed in the group considering excluding Carl? But as like that event involving Carl on Easter sort of put you on your toes involving other members in your group?
I'd say it didn't put me on my toes because I never wanted to be the person who's the reason why people aren't friends anymore. I didn't want them to not be friends with him just because I'm not friends with him anymore. I feel that's a decision they need to make on their own. But I feel like whatever they decide, I would still hope that they would still be close with me and not almost abandon their friendship with me and stick to him, you know. So yeah, almost to find a balance between the two if they decide to still be friends with him.
I was actually talking about like you said there's James, Matthew and Cole. Now Cole you were really close with.
Yeah.
So with Matthew and James, say after what happened to Cole, after what happened to Kyle, has there been any what's the term I could use? Change in friendship since then?
I'd say not. I'd say Matthew would just definitely reached out to me and asked what happened. And I told him part of what happened. I didn't say the full story because I didn't feel. I felt part of what happened would almost paint the picture enough. So yeah, so I feel definitely like I have the support if I were to tell him the full story of what happened. However, I just haven't. And yeah, but in regards to my friendship with him, I don't feel it's changed much. I still feel I can be very comfortable with him, and I'm still very close with him. I think it's just me overcoming that anxiety of what would happen if I were to tell him.
And so, and as far as you remember or know, who knows the full story?
Only Cole.
And when do you think it's time to let the whole group know what actually happened so they could have the full painted picture and not just be blinded by the memories and stirred up by the conflicts going on?
I think definitely within this week coming, because Carl is coming back in the week, and so I wouldn't want them to still feel conflicted knowing that they don't know the full story. So yeah.
Yeah, do you plan on addressing it too?
I'm thinking I should just get them together and then just tell them straight what happened.
Like, just like on a day out or just invite them over?
Yes. So Matthew is supposed to spend time with me on Saturday next week. So I'm thinking of just inviting the others along as well. And then just to speak about things and just get it all out here where everyone is at.
Sorry, can you see the time there?
10 minutes.
Is there any other problems that's going on within your life? Or any other things you would like to address?
I'd say still that topic.
What would you like to touch on?
So I'd say the picture that he's painted to the rest of the group isn't what actually happened.
Can you repeat that, please?
I'd say the picture of what happened between me and him, what he told to the rest of the group, or specifically Nirvana, isn't what actually happened. So a big part of me feels that if I were to tell them and they bring it up with him, he would then lie about it.
If
like he did to Nirvana.
If you don't mind me asking, what did he tell Nirvana?
So he told Nirvana, like almost bragging to her, that he almost had sex with me and that basically it was consensual. And she asked me about it because she knew I'm not interested in him like that, and I told her it wasn't consensual, but I didn't elaborate further. And so because of that, I feel if I were to tell James and Matthew that if they were to bring it up with him, he would tell them, no, I'm lying. You know? And I'm not saying they wouldn't believe me, but then I feel that would again put them in a conflicted spot.
You had to hear his side of the story.
Yes, because I feel he wouldn't tell the truth.
But do you think there will ever be a time for him to tell his side of the story to the group, considering the state that the group is in right now? Because from what I'm hearing, he's basically, the group is slowly distancing themselves from the eldest guy and the eldest, the rest of the group.
So the rest of the group turned 20 this year. James is 21, and then Carl is 22. So Carl is basically 2 years older than us.
No, what about James? Is he older?
James is a year older than us. Yeah.
So how's he in the friend?
Who?
James.
James is good. He was in high school with us in the same grade, so we all had the same friends, and we all were also like together through high school. So you don't really feel a difference in age because he was always with us in school. Because Carl was
also a year behind.
Carl was 2 grades ahead of us. So when we finished high school, he was already out of school for 2 years. So his maturity level is also not where it's supposed to be.
And what role did Carl play in the group?
I'd say,
if you don't mind touching on it, because I know it's a very touchy subject.
I'd say out of high school, it was almost like he was cool because he was older than us. He had money, he was working, got his license first, he would drive us around and stuff. But then as we started reaching those points in our lives, we could almost see
realization.
Yeah, we could see what you're doing hanging out with people so much younger than you, you know? So yeah.
Anything else? Would you still like to elaborate on your issues with Carl? Or would you like to touch on something else?
I'd say that's about it. Yeah, with the Carl situation.
What do you like to speak on?
So my sister and I also had a falling out.
I'm sorry.
So I think I told you now that I have been through a breakup last year. And it's because of my sister. So the guy I was with, we were in a friend group, me, him, 2 other guys and my sister. And then for like about a year, and then we started seeing each other the year after, which was last year. And then my sister became very jealous and protective of me. At first I thought it was just her being overprotective.
Sister jealous of another sister's relationship.
Yes.
Strange.
And so my sister is 2 years older than me, and she had never been in a relationship before. So I thought it was because I was with someone first before her, and so she almost felt insecure about that. I'm 20, my sister's 22. And so she became very protective of me, I'd say. But I think that came from a place of jealousy more than concern. And she was finding a lot of issues with the guy that I was with, but it was the smallest things. For example, the time he dropped me at home, she felt it was too late, and my mom didn't have a problem with it. So my thing
thought
was,
it was too late, but your mom had no problem.
yeah. So I thought if my mom doesn't have a problem with
Isn't
it,
it
why
meant to be
would
the
I?
other way around?
Yes, why would I then listen to you? You know. My mom really liked him. My whole family liked him. His whole family liked me. And yeah, and then the one day I invited him over to watch a new show that came out on Netflix.
What show?
It was the Monsters one of Lyle and Eric Menendez.
Menendez brothers.
Yes. And so we were gonna watch that by my house that day. And then I told my sister that's the plan for the weekend, and then she said she felt like she was gonna be a third wheel, and I told her if you're third wheel it's not my problem. You can make plans with your own friends if you don't have to be with us. And then she was insisting, yeah, she must have a relationship with him also as the guy that's with her sister and stuff. And I told her like you can't force that to happen naturally. And she was just insisting that she's gonna be there. So I said, look, if you're gonna feel like a third wheel, don't make my problem. So yeah, and then she ended up inviting our childhood friend Kirsty, who's very close with her because they're the same age. And so then we were there, and then my sister insisted that he rise, which then hijacked my whole plan with him to watch the series because he had to went by. And so then I was sitting outside
Why
of him
couldn't
by
you
the
guys
bride
just order something to eat?
because he didn't have a lot of money,
Mm.
and I had to use the last of my money to get the meat to bride, and he had to use like his last bit of money to drive to the shop. So yeah, so then we went and we still were nice about it. Okay, we'll bride, and then I was with him by the bride, and then her and Kirsty had a problem that I was with him most of the time.
Also.
For example, they were inside and me and him were outside, and they felt like I was choosing him over them. And while I was outside with him,
Mind if I interject? So, your sister had her friend over, a person that she could be spending time with, and you had your boyfriend over, and she was worrying about you spending time with her, with your boyfriend,
yeah,
instead of spending time with her and her friend.
yeah. And then eventually we were all sitting outside, and then they dished the food up, and then I was gonna dish him a plate because me and him were gonna sit by the bride area, and then my sister and her friend were gonna do whatever they did. And then when I walked away with his plate, they were like, "Oh, so you dishing a plate of food?" So I was like, "Yeah, I bride the stuff. It's the least I can do." Then they were like, "No, you guys can actually just come sit here and come spend time with us. You don't have to be antisocial." So at that point I was already over it, and I just told him to come sit by us. So then we still sat there, we still played 30 seconds with him, and then me and he went back to the braai and they followed. Then by the braai, I was sitting on his lap, and then we would kiss like here and there, but it was nothing inappropriate considering we were around other people. And yeah, and then they eventually got annoyed and got up and went inside, into the house, and then he was still outside for a few more hours. Then when he went home, he obviously had to walk through the house, so then he still greeted, and then she was like most upset with the two of us and a friend as well.
Right.
I'll get there. And then he left, and then I went back to go clear the braai area, and then they stopped me in my tracks and started shouting at me and yelling and stuff. And the friend could tell me all the problems my sister had with Kirsty could tell me all the problems that my sister had with me and the guy I was with. And so that just showed me that
was Kirsty also kind of part of the problem? Or was she just letting your sister just...
Yeah, I'd say my sister was letting Kirsty disrespect me. Because from what Kirsty was telling me, I could tell that the two of them were discussing me and him while we were outside and they were inside.
Was she usually like that?
From what I knew, no, which is why I was so shocked by it.
Or she was just letting your sister continue whatever was going on?
Yeah, she was almost allowing it. But I think my sister spun a different story to the truth. And then after that, like for example, because he told me that I'm trying to want to fit in and get along with his sister.
Is that what? Is
That's
that
part.
Kirsty's words?
Kirsty told me that, but that's something my sister would have said. And so, keep in mind, I never told Kirsty anything about me being with him or what the dynamic of mine and his relationship was. And then, yeah, and she was just going at it and saying that I shouldn't be in a relationship because I'm too young, and she's speaking from experience at her relationship
But
and
she's
not, and
never
it
had a
didn't work
proper
out.
relationship.
She did, and the guy cheated on her, but that was in high school. And my thing is, you can't project your insecurities of relationships
You can't use
onto
your
me.
bad experiences to
Exactly.
ruin someone else's.
Yeah. And so then, while they were still shouting at me, this now my sister and the friend, they were still telling me I was disrespectful and I wasn't raised right and I'm choosing a man and I'm doing wifey activities as a girlfriend because I teach them a plate of food, and it was a whole thing. And then after that, the next day I heard them on the phone with their friend saying that he fingered me in front of them at the bride.
And that didn't
That
happen.
did not happen at all. And that
That's
just pushed me
actually-
over the edge.
Wait, I'm
And-
sorry, but that's just a crazy thing to do.
Yeah. And so then,
Sorry to interrupt you, but especially from your sister to like
yes,
spin stories like that about you. She like basically painting you in a light where it's very, what's the term to use? Promiscuous.
yeah. And I'm not like that at all. My friends can attest to it. I feel like stuff like that is personal. You don't do it in front of other people.
Especially as a sister.
Yes. And yeah, and they were just running with the story. And I felt very hurt because it's obviously my sister and someone that we grew up with that was saying this. And yeah, and so then I just stopped speaking to my sister for like months on end. And then, yeah, and then eventually me and this guy decided that I felt it wasn't fair to put him through that because his name was also being run through the mud. And we also had a lot of mutual friends.
It's actually sad that your sister ruined your relationship.
Yeah, and he also felt he didn't want to get between mine and my sister's relationship because we were very close.
You did the right thing. Both of you
Yeah.
did the right thing.
And so I think it was more hurtful for me to get over that breakup because it was nothing me or you did. It was something my sister did.
That's actually a very wrong thing to do, especially as a sister, sibling, to ruin your own sibling's relationship over pity and jealousy to try and make yourself feel better about the situation.
Yes, and then after that I also found out more stuff that she did. Like she went through my phone while I was in the shower, read my chats with him, because she wanted to dig up dirt, I think, I'm assuming. I don't know what she was trying to find. She was telling people I'm choosing a man over her. She would guilt trip me if I went out with him. For example, the one day we planned to go to Spur to meet up with his family on a date. And then it was the Saturday, and then come the day before she wanted to go to the club with me. And when I told her no, she was upset that I was choosing him over her. Not keeping in mind that my plan with him was set in stone. And he and I both were working that year, so we could only really see each other on weekends.
From what I'm hearing is that your sister doesn't like when people are prospering in areas where she isn't.
Yes.
So like from what I'm hearing, it's like the term of if I'm drowning, you guys drown with me. And that's what I'm hearing, because she wasn't, because from what I heard, she hasn't really had a very successful runs in terms of relationships.
Yeah.
And the fact that you have, like from what I'm hearing, you and
Carl.
but not the same Carl.
Not the same Carl.
From what I'm hearing, you and Carl had a very, it was a good relationship.
Yeah.
How was Carl like with your friends?
I'd say it was good. They met, I think, twice.
So from what I'm hearing, Carl was a good dude.
Yes, and I also asked my friends after he met them what they think of him, and they all said he's a very nice guy.
So it was
Very chill, yeah.
just, so So from what I'm hearing, she was just ran by jealousy,
Yes.
pettiness, and FOMO.
Yeah, I don't think it's FOMO. I think it was more the jealousy, because also growing up as close as we were, she would also compare herself a lot to me. If I had something she didn't, she would make me feel bad about it.
Yeah, so that's been a problem since
It's
childhood.
been a problem, and it just got even worse with
Yes,
me
no.
getting a relationship. Yeah.
And do you think that if she was in a relationship, how do you feel like she would go on about that in terms of you guys?
So she was speaking to someone this year romantically, but that didn't work out. And I also knew it wouldn't, because the guy wasn't of the same religion. He lived very far, and it almost felt like he was leading her on. But I thought if I were to say anything to her, she would
She would
feel almost
Beating
fighting
her
her
back.
relationship. Yeah, for that. But at the same time, I feel like if she does, it's none of my business. I'm not a petty person. I know how drunk I felt when she did that to me. I wouldn't want someone
To
else
put
to
that,
feel the
yeah.
same. Yeah.
even stop.
26.
Any aspect of anything you would like to touch on?
So yeah, I'd say growing up with me and my sister didn't have an easy childhood. Our parents got divorced when we were 5, and my father was bipolar and manic, and also alcoholic. So
I'm sorry to hear.
So we moved out of our family home to live with our grandparents.
Where did you live before?
We lived in Ottery before.
And where did your grandparents live?
They live in Wynberg, so it's not too far apart. But yeah, and my father was very inconsistent in our lives, so my sister always felt she had to protect me. And so, as I'm now an adult, I don't need her to protect me. So what she thinks is protection, I think is overbearing. And so I think that also played a big part in the dynamic when I was in a relationship with Carl.
Are you still in contact with your father?
I have him on WhatsApp, but we don't speak. I don't have anything to say to him. He doesn't message me.
Yeah, so he doesn't live with you guys anymore.
No, in 2018 he left to start a new life for himself in Thailand. I became very depressed that year, and my sister ran away from home that day. Yeah, for context, he just came to us today and said, oh, he's moved to Thailand, he doesn't know when he's coming back, and then he left. So yeah, so it wasn't easy with that whole thing. So I also struggled with my mental health a lot that time. But I feel I've also grown as a person to where it doesn't affect me really anymore, and I know how to deal with it properly now.
No, this is a touchy subject, but do you feel like it's, from what I'm hearing, you never really had a good relationship with your dad. Your dad wasn't really a good father.
Yeah.
Do you think him leaving, as much as it did hurt, it did better for your life now than if he stayed?
Yeah, definitely. I think if he was still in my life, it would have been much more traumatic.
And how was your mother holding up in all of this?
She went to a hospital for mental health. I think while they were busy going through the divorce, because he was very toxic and threatened to kidnap my sister and I a few times.
That's actually crazy.
So she went to a mental hospital once she had a restraining order against him sorted. And so since then she's been doing a lot better. She's been involved in church. I think that was almost like the turning point for her to not get worse in the situation. Now she's in a new relationship. The guy is very nice to me and my family.
I'm glad to hear that.
We get along with his son as well. So yeah.
It's nice to hear.
Brilliant. So yes, I think also my father leaving was almost a blessing in disguise, just because of how he is as a person.
Yeah, as much as it hurt.
As much as it hurt, now looking back, I can see
picture.
how it was better. Yeah.
In the grand scheme of things, it was the best possible option.
Yeah.
And you still live with your grandparents?
Yes, I do.
How are they?
They typical old people. They're very nice, very friendly. their health is also starting to deteriorate. My mom must go to the hospital soon for arm for arthritis. My grandfather also had a stroke, so he can't walk properly and he has bowel and bladder problems. He has to wear diapers.
How old is he?
He is 76 and my mom is 74. So, I mean 75, sorry. So I think it's also difficult for me to see them getting old and less independent because in my mind they're still like early 60s. So yeah, so I think I also have to come to terms with the fact that they are getting older and yeah, I have to also step up and grandchild and also help them where I can. Yeah.
Do you think there's anything you feel you need to talk about more? Because you spoke about the conflicts going on with Cal, your friend group, your sister, the past with your father, your grandparents. Do you feel like there's anything else you need to elaborate on?
I'd say no, but I think, like in closing, what I got from the session was just that throughout what I've been through, I think it all helped me be able to get through it. So yeah, so I think in the bigger picture, I can see how it just made me a better person overall, and I also see where I should do better by telling my friends the truth as to what happened with Carl, and also how I should go about romantic relationships in future. So yeah. What do you want?
That was actually Diraku as a counselor.
Yeah.
Was I locked in?
Yeah, you were.
But like Diraku.
It is different because